If you are currently experiencing a behavioral issue of any kind, feel free to email me as I do offer virtual coaching. And if you would like, you can go to my Facebook page and you can see all the reviews that I've had from previous clients. My name is Kevin. I've been working with dogs for 16 years. I currently help dog owners resolve behavioral issues that have developed in their dogs. I make the distinction on my channel that dog training is exclusively skill-based, while behavioral issues are largely socially related. So the focus of this channel is canine social dynamics and the relationship dynamic between dog and human. When I engage in resolving behavioral issues in dogs, I do not use treats, I do not use toys, I don't use play. My focus is on what's happening on a social level between dog and dog owner. So this is going to be a follow-up to the video I posted the other day responding to World Pet Health's video on Joker. I believe is an American bulldog, but he's a teenager and they're having some issues on the leash. And there was some questions in my comments. One individual had asked, well, if you had a dog that had similar issues and was the same breed, how would you go about solving that? And another individual was just looking for general puppy advice. So I'm going to combine those two and answer that here in this video. But I also want to take a moment to say that it really amazes me how many people actually defended the shit that these guys did in this video to this dog, and how many people just didn't seem to give a fuck. I even asked one individual, well, if this was your dog in this video and these guys were doing this to your dog, you're telling me you'd have no problem with it? Well, he avoided answering the question and ended the conversation. You know, it seems people have such low standards nowadays for anything that imagining somebody having higher standards, especially when working with, you know, living creatures like dogs, I don't know, it just breaks their brain a little bit, and it's pretty fucking sad, but here we are. So the first thing I want to point out is that if you're new to my channel, the last series I did with a puppy, his name is Marty. He's a very fierce little guy. There's a video I have posted that lays out the strategy, the roadmap for his development, so I'd recommend. There's a lot of really good general puppy advice in there, especially for if you have a headstrong puppy, very fierce puppy. I would recommend go watching that. You might pick up some valuable information there. But in regards to Joker, so based on what I could find on World Pet Health's page, it seems that they've had Joker for about 5 months. Now this individual's name's Trev. If I remember correctly, he said that Joker's about 6 to 7 months. So Joker is a teenager, which raises the first big point of this video, and that is that I do hear this notion in the dog world that you should not start, quote, training. Now, no, here's the problem. If you look at this from the lens of training, then yeah, you might fall prey to this, but there are people who believe you shouldn't start training your dog till they're a little bit older. But the problem with that is that you're too late. You're going to be behind, and now you're playing catch up, and now you might have some more serious problems on your hands that you wouldn't have had if you had started much earlier. But now if we look at this from a social perspective, say how if a puppy's with their mother is going to begin disciplining that puppy, the mother's going to socialize that puppy, the mother's going to begin to show that dog the ropes. So the minute we take a puppy or dog into our home, as young as they are, we are now building a relationship from that second moving forward. So I don't care how young they are, you need to start establishing some basic rules, start getting some boundaries put in place, and start giving the dog structure.
The 4 to 6 month range is for dogs that are going to be smaller. If you have the Mastiffs, of course, those the Great Danes, you want to go more 8 to 10 before you worry about corrections because they're not mentally mature enough. So you want to make sure, because they get these 100-pound dogs and they're 4 months old, they put these collars on and then they have a real problem because now the dog is like afraid of everything. So make sure you aren't using the 4 to 6 for your dog unless you got a bulldog or a smaller dog.
And mind you, even the bulldogs can be super defensive, super reactive, super so many things, but I got it from a person who's like, yo, he's gonna be a little bit of a hoodlum. And I was like, okay, I love a good hoodlum, but I'm over that. Which is why I needed the bulldog so we can calm the F down.
Now, it does not matter. Wait. It does not matter how young a dog is, right? This dog is 4 months old. I'm teaching him the same boundary I taught the pit bull, right? Do not fall into the trap. The common thinking is that you have to wait till a certain age to start introducing discipline and boundaries to your puppy, and this is wrong. Right? Introduce these things as early as you can because you're laying a foundation for not only the relationship you're building with the dog, but as the dog, you're raising a dog, right? It is a puppy. You don't want to be too rigid with things, but we need to start introducing discipline as early as possible because we're raising a dog. Okay, go ahead, Grizzy. Eat. Good boy.
There needs to be consistency, a high level of consistency from day to day in the routine that you give this puppy and the interactions, therefore, moving forward as the dog gets older. and the way that you interact with the dog is going to set the precedent for how things go moving forward. Now, Trev in this video does state that Joker listens reasonably well, but he has issues on the leash. He likes to chase cars.
Now, when you take Joker out, he gets to yanking every time a car passes. It's kind of annoying. We want to get a win and then put him back up. Then I'm going to take Stan's grabbing the prong collar out. When should you use, I guess the term's equipment? You should use it when the dog is a hoodlum and will not listen. Joker's not bad. He actually listens relatively well. But I tell you, man, the prong collar gonna save his life.
Now, to me, that makes this whole thing even worse, because if the only issue he had was, say, biting the leash and chasing cars, your answer was to put a prong collar on it and beat the shit out of it. That was your solution. So let's get into what I would do differently. So as you can see, it's a mess even before they walk out the door. So the first thing I would have addressed is the fact that Joker is pulling and trying to run out the door, and his state of mind is he's excited, he's like a little bit anxious, as you heard him whining in the crate. He's amped up. So do you think an amped up, overexcited, anxious dog is going to be more likely to chase cars or less likely? So the first thing I would have done is establish a boundary at the front door where I would slow Joker down. We'd slow the whole process of even getting outside down, because everything we do needs to address the state of mind Joker is in. I want to walk outside calmly, and I want my dog to walk outside calmly with me. Second, you see how, I think this individual's name is Stan, you see how he's giving Joker all the leash in the world. You give the dog the amount of freedom it can handle as a puppy, say in the house or in the backyard or what have you, and you give the dog the amount of freedom it can handle on the leash. Joker clearly cannot handle having that much leash because he's acting on impulse, he's too excitable, his mind is all over the place. And he is also not in a follower position. He's trying to lead the charge. He's trying to do what he wants to do, and he's totally ignoring the other two individuals, the humans in the equation. It should be the other way around. The dog should be following us. Now from there, it's just a matter of following a few simple principles, right? We want to walk, we want the leash to be loose and relaxed, but I only want to give Joker as much leash as he can handle. So he's right next to me. And every time he goes to pull ahead, I can apply a little bit of tension up on the leash to stop him. Now, work with the leash does take practice. It takes time to get good at this, but it's all about timing, repetition, consistency, and patience. So along those same lines, when Joker fixates on something, or say I see a car coming. So along those same lines, when Joker would fixate on something in the environment, or say I see a car coming, and I'm focused on him, and he doesn't have all the leash in the world to run after the car, I can now pay attention to him to the moment he locks into that car, and then I can redirect him. The idea is to break his fixation on the car or whatever it is he's fixated on the environment and keep him focused on walking, paying attention to me, and moving forward. So this now becomes a matter of timing. I only apply the tension when I want to let Joker know I don't want you to do that, and then I release that tension when he no longer is trying to move forward or when his focus is no longer on that thing that I do not want him focused on. Starts fixating on the house, break that fixation.
Okay.
That's right there. I want to stop that. So every time you see him and the ears perk up and he starts fixating on something, the more you can intervene at that moment, the less of it you're going to see. I just pull his head a little bit back, focus. So now eyes forward. Okay. You don't need to worry about anything in the environment. If we walk, just like this. See, I didn't put much pressure on the leash.
I hope we don't disturb you. Okay. Should I let him meet?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
super nice. He's just.
Yeah, this one too. She doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's super nice. He's just he gets like.
The rules of thumb I use for walking are, I want him following and not trying to cross the natural boundaries of the sidewalk. Once we've gotten into a flow and a rhythm and he's not trying to smell everything and he's clearly focusing on walking and he's paying attention to you, then you decide, Beth, when I want to pull over and give him some time in the grass. We're giving structure to the walk where we're saying, we're on the sidewalk, it's time to focus on walking, pay attention to me, and then when I decide you can go smell stuff, I'll let you do it. If you know he's got to go to the bathroom when you first start, let him do what he's got to do. Once you get on the sidewalk and you get going, it's time to focus. This is what he should be looking like. Ears pinned back, he's following me, change direction, he's changing direction with you. Anytime I walk a dog, if it's new and I'm working through these things, I'm constantly glued to the dog. The minute I see him perk up like that, I'm redirecting, I'm addressing it so I can stop it where it starts. I didn't need to really do much. Right. And that's the reason I love the phase harnesses, is because I don't need much to redirect his head.
They
So
walk
that
differently
when
than
he
me,
gets
and
in
he
front of
walks-
me, this pulls himself.
Okay, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe
Yeah.
Kevin, you should watch Wes Walker.
Sure.
Because if he's doing it
Set.
better than I am, then
The whole idea is pay attention to that is everything.
I'm doing this. You gotta stop that. The whole idea
So
is
Beth is doing right by trying to keep his head straight.
yeah,
Down
I want him
going
focused.
forward.
Anytime you see those ears perk up and he's scanning the environment, I gotta stop that. Because that's where him reacting starts.
right? We need to untrain behaviors.
Well, we're addressing the state of mind. The state of mind, when he kind of puffs, he gets tense and he's looking. I don't want that because if he sees something, he's already anticipating and then he reacts. But if I get him into a state of mind where now he's just following me, he's calm, I want him paying attention to me. You see how he didn't move till I started moving? If I stop, he should stop with me. I should be able to drop the leash. He's still showing me that he's with me. Now, I've worked with a lot of bullies. Pit bulls, bulldogs, French bulldogs, Boston terriers, so many different bullies. English bulldogs. My own dog is a micro American bulldog. Now, in my experience, bullies are some of the easiest dogs to get under control on a leash. I'm not saying Joker would also be that easy, but I have yet to meet a bully that I have found to be all that difficult on a leash. So what this really comes down to is just knowing how to use the leash correctly. Good boy, Grizz. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy, Grizz. Atta boy. Good boy. Nice job, buddy. Nice job, buddy. Nice job, buddy. Okay. Good boy. Good boy, Grizz. Yeah, good boy. Nice job. Okay. Okay. So I'm just trying to teach Marty some basic stuff with the leash. Staying on one side, not running into the grass. Every impulse he gets to want to go smell something. And then Goose is just right there. He likes to go run and jump on her every now and then, but she's kind of like, yeah, whatever. But he's doing pretty well. You know, he pulls every now and then, but just a little bit. He does okay. He's a little excited at first, but he starts to kind of settle into it. All right. Hard part is just getting him to not want to run in the grass every 4 seconds. But see, like this right here. Like, see if I pull straight up, see how it slows him down, and then I just apply a little bit of pressure to redirect him there. And then I keep the leash loose, and when he goes to run, I just kind of redirect him. A little bit of pressure, redirect him. And then he's got a little itch. So just something you just got to repeat it over and over and over again, and then eventually he'll understand, right? Because if you just let him act on every impulse, and as he grows up, he's going to be a nightmare on the leash. Because now you'll have a very impulsive dog who just incessantly pulls, and it's a headache.